What's up everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an amazing cinematic piece of music where I'm specifically using the violin or viola and piano. So this piece of music is inspired by film scoring. So for example, some scores by Ludwig Göransson or Zimmer. So in this video, I'm basically using a piano, a second violin and a viola. And I'm going to show you how to add some automations, how to make it as realistic as possible. And I'm going to guide you through a project which I've already created, because if you want to create something like this from scratch, that's just way too difficult and it takes too much time. So let's get started. So in this video, I'm just using elements from EastWest Sounds, which I highly recommend. Those elements are high quality, really like them. So at first I'm picking a piano, and in this case I've picked the Bosendorfer Master, which sounds like this. A very wide piano which already contains a lot of reverb, so you don't need to make any tweaks to the preset or bank, how you want to call it. Just select it and you're ready to go. So I've created 4 sections for the piano melody. So let's open up. So I'm gonna open up the channel rack and I'm gonna create all the layers in one channel rack. So in most of the cases you would split them, but in this case that's not really necessary. So let's open up the first melody by opening up the piano roll. So this is the first piano melody. So you have to think about 3 things. That is making sure not all the elements play exactly on the grid. So you want to make it as humanic as possible, and you don't want to make it sound sequenced. So everything is just too flat and played too perfectly. So that's something you definitely want to avoid. So on the bottom right here, so let me extend this one, you can select note velocity. And by adjusting the note velocity, you can basically adjust the sound of a specific note or key which you draw into the piano roll. So you want to make sure it sounds softer. So when you play a piano in real life, you don't hit the keys at the exact same force all the time. And that's something we basically want to replicate by adjusting the velocity control. So let me play you the first section of this score. So I'm starting off with a simple piano melody. And also this score is created in A minor. So I'm not changing any keys or pitches or whatever, just keeping it simple for this video. Simplicity is key. So I'm starting off with a simple A. I think it sounds beautiful. So I'm building up. So that's the first melody. So I'm leaving some space right here. Something which you have to keep in mind, and something which is very important, is to make sure not all the notes are the exact same length. Because when you play the keyboard and you let go of a key, for example, you cannot do this every time at the exact same speed, for example. So that's something you also want to integrate into a piano score. So as you can see, I've made small tweaks just to make it as humanic as possible. And later on, I'm going to show you another trick how to make it more organic. So that's the first section for the score. So this is the second melody. So again, I'm starting off at A, and I'm basically following the exact same chord progression. So I'm going from A, C, E, and I'm reusing the notes. So A, so I've basically converted this melody to this one. I will now make sure you get very creative and create something cool. So let's have a listen to the second section. So that's it again, we're switching it up, and let's play the third part of the piano melody. And right now it's getting repetitive, so the same chord progression is repeating, and then that's basically it. So I'm still reusing the exact same notes, but I'm adjusting the length of the chord progression or also the speed. So I'm starting off with a medium speed melody, but then I'm speeding it up, and then I'm making it sound very, very slow And I'm also doing this because it's the outro of this score. So the next trick to make your score more organic is by automating the BPM. So automating the tempo of your project file. So when you're listening to some orchestral music in real life, not everything is played at the exact same tempo. So it's basically slowing down and speeding up all the time. And this is something we can easily apply in FL Studio to our score. So this project is created at around 90 BPM. So we're gonna automate this one. So we select the right mouse button and then select Create Automation Clip. Then a tempo automation clip is created. So right now you want to tweak it manually by drawing in some random points, making sure at certain points the score sounds slower, speeding up, especially when we're switching up the chord progression or melody. So right here, for example, so we're speeding up, slowing down, and then when the next section of the chord progression or melody is coming in, it's speeding up again, but it's constantly shifting around 95 to 85 BPM. And keep an eye on the BPM right here. So as you can hear, it's constantly going up and down, and this makes it so much more humanic. Another amazing trick is to play around with the expression of the piano. You can easily do this for every plugin within OPUS, so the EY sound machine. So right now we select play and player, then select automation. Then you select expression right here, so basically select it, and then create an automation clip. And then when the automation clip is created, play around with the expression manually. So playing around with the tone by adjusting the velocity, but we could also play around with the expression to add another layer of emotion to a chord progression or piano melody. So that's it for the piano melody. So right now let's move on to the next layer, which is the second violin. And I'm using the second violin in the second section of the piano melody. And I'm using the Hollywood strings too. So I'm using mood just on classic. So I've not made any tweaks. I'm just selecting it and using it in my project. So let's have a listen. So again, I'm making sure not everything is exactly on the grid. So in FL Studio, you can select a magnet and select none. So you're basically free to move around the note. So let's have a listen. And I'm basically playing the root notes from the chord progression. So in this case, A, and then I'm switching it up, so I'm picking the next note available within the scale, which is F, and the next one is G. So let's have a listen. So already some reverb is added to the string. So the thing, it sounds beautiful and it goes perfectly together with the piano. And again, I applied the same trick. I'm playing around with the expression for the second violin. So I've created another automation exactly the same way as I did for the piano. And then I'm creating something uplifting. So as you probably noticed, the final two notes sound more aggressive and are more present. I'll be doing this while basically announcing a transition to a next part for the score. So then the third layer, and this is also the final layer, so I'm keeping it so simple for this one. I'm using another viola, and I'm using the Hollywood strings too again. So I'm using the Viola's sustain expression preset. So I've again created another automation clip by selecting automation and again automating the expression. And this one also sounds amazing. I really like to use those sounds. And then I'm adding another very vibrant layer. So let me play you the full section until the end of the score. So this one is basically repeating. Starting at the root note, picking the next note, previous one. Very simple. So as you can see, I'm using the exact same sequence. But right here, I'm just trying to find the right sound. In this case, it's not that difficult. So again, I'm picking the next available notes within the scale and just mess around until I think it sounds good. So then let me show you some simple mixing tricks very quickly. So I've added some more reverb to the elements and I'm adding just one reverb. So I'm not adding multiple reverbs because otherwise it's getting very messy. So I'm adding golfos, which is an AI EQ, and I'm doing this to reduce any annoying frequencies. So for those elements which sound very organic, there are always some frequencies which I don't like. And golfos automatically removes them. So I highly recommend this one. And then I'm adding again some more reverb. So I'm using the Pulse Cathedral preset. And then I'm just adjusting the mix. So it sounds very wide and it sounds very, very good. So on the piano, I'm manually creating an EQ by using those dynamic EQs by just removing some annoying frequencies. And then I'm using golfos again to make sure it sounds amazing. So right now, let me play you the final score and I hope you enjoy it. So make sure to watch the animation. You can definitely notice it. That makes a huge difference. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. And I hope this video inspired you to create some awesome piano, film score, or orchestral music in our studio. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also make sure to not forget to like the video. It will really help me. And with all this being said, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you create some awesome music and see you next week.